Good morning, Warzone kids. Got another little fun Zen story for you. This one's about heaven and hell. My grandfather, Pawpaw, grew up in Oklahoma, and he spent most of his declining years in Oklahoma City, puttering around in his backyard, fixing small engines. He loved fiddling around with mechanical things. And he'd putter around there, fixing them engines, and dispensing wisdom to any that came looking for it. And people did. They come from all over the city, bringing him their lawnmower engines and looking for some wisdom. People said he always had the answers. Well, there's a old Yankee farmer from Vermont moved down there into the neighborhood, married into some family, got plucked out of the frozen tundra, sent down to Oklahoma. And he heard talk about Pawpaw, and he wanted to go see what this old man and his wisdom were all about. So he walked up the street, and there in the backyard, behind a chain link fence, there's Pawpaw, puttering around in the garage on his workbench, wearing his standard uniform of Oklahoma cotton picker. Striped railroad overalls, straw hat, nothing else except a cigar. And he's sitting there on the workbench puttering around trying to put a set of rings on the piston out of a lawnmower sitting there, engine took apart at his feet. It's a kind of a delicate, annoying task. You got to fit these little graphite rings down over the piston just right, and they'll slide, otherwise you break them. So he's fiddling around there with that. And so Yankee farmer comes up and he says, "Hey there, old timer. People around here say you have a lot of answers. I'd like to hear you tell me all about heaven and hell." And Pawpaw didn't even look up. He said, "I can tell by the sound of that squeaky voice of yours, you ain't nothing but a dirty carpet-bagging Yankee." Well, the Yankee farmer stepped back. He wasn't ready for that. He thought, well, this old codger is still holding it against me, the war between the states. He's still sore about it. I'll give him a minute to cool off, make another run at it. But he didn't feel so friendly this time. And he said, "Well, be that as it may, I just came by to ask you about the difference between heaven and hell. Everyone around here says you know what's what." And Pawpaw said, "Well, let me tell you how the cow ate the cabbage. I heard tell they call y'all up there from Vermont woodchucks, and I can take one look at that lumpy face of yours, and I think if I was a woodchuck, I'd be insulted." Step back. Fighting mad now, farmer. He wasn't looking for this. He said, "Well, be that as it may, I ain't responsible for my looks. And I am wondering if you do have anything to say about matters of heaven and hell. People say you do, but I think all you got's smart remarks." And Pawpaw said, "Y'all up there eat pickles and snow, and you don't do nothing but sit around milking trees. Won't you stick with what you know best and sell high-priced fancy cheese to fools and leave heaven and hell out of it?" Well, that farmer's fighting mad. He's shaking like a dog passing a peach pit. He vaulted up over that fence, ran over there, plucked that piston up off a workbench, raised it up over his head like a samurai sword. Pawpaw just laughed at him, looked up and said, "Whoa there, tall stranger. That's hell right there. You put yourself plumb in the middle of it." And that Yankee farmer standing there with that piston over his head saw just what he's talking about. He stood there with his mouth open, just gawking at Pawpaw. And Pawpaw's eyes twinkled, and he gave his big cackling laugh, and he said, There you go, cowboy. That's heaven. Now, once you come back down here to earth and help me get these rings on this piston. And that's what that Yankee farmer did. He went down there and he held that piston, and it took him a while. But that Oklahoma cotton picker and that Yankee farmer eventually got them rings on that piston, and they got that lawnmower running again. And that's all Pawpaw thought you needed to know about heaven and hell. You bring them with you everywhere you go, all the time. Well, it's a nice, clear, cold day on the trail, Pilgrim. Let's bring some heaven with us. We got a lot of miles to walk today. Let's walk them together. We got a lot to talk about.